What's going on, guys? Clifton Denny with On Your Own Outdoors. Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but it's time to start getting tuned up for deer season, so you know what that means. It's time to knock out some reviews. So first thing I wanted to talk about getting into this review season is probably the most vital tool that I used this last year, and that is the new Predator SKUA e-bike, dual 750 watt e-bike that we have over here. So the last time that y'all seen me do a bike video, I guess I've already done two of them. One of them was over the Talon Predator, which was their old model, and then another one was just a Amazon bike. So I am a little bit more knowledgeable now on e-bikes. This is the fourth one that I've owned, and by far the most powerful and the most versatile one that I have had, especially having the dual wheel. So it's got a 750 watt motor in the front and the back. So let's jump straight into how to use an electric e-bike before we get into all the specs about this bike itself. This one is super easy. Very few buttons to operate, but in general, when you turn it on, up here on the screen, there is a number 1. When you see that number 1, what that means is you're in the lowest power setting that is on the bike. All you have to do to adjust that is hit the plus arrow over here, and it goes up all the way to 5. And when you are at 5, you are basically on like a 200cc dirt bike. Just so you're aware, that thing will get down, if you know what I'm saying. The other option is to go all the way down to 0. And if you're all the way down on 0, nothing's operating. You're just rotating your feet, and you are manually using the bike. One cool thing is there is not a selector from pedal assist to automatic. So whenever you're going to ride this bike, if you look over here on this side here, you see me rotate that there. It's on 0, turn it up to 1. She's going to try to jump out of the way, right? So that is your throttle, if you will. It's just like a dirt bike, except it's a little bit small piece on the inside. So you can use that, or while you're in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you have the option to not use that at all and use what is called pedal assist, which what I do, put it in the lowest gear, just rotate my feet. What it does is it keeps from eating your battery up so bad. So basically, as you're rotating your feet, it gives it a little boost, and it kind of charges as you're going. Is it going to fully charge it? Absolutely not. It's just going to make the longevity of your battery that much longer. Super awesome feature, especially not having any switches to have to change it. I know it's kind of hard. Over here on this side is where you change the things on this bike. So this bike, like I said, is a dual 750 watt bike. What does that mean? Both tires pull. So you switch it over to one side, it's just the front tire. You switch it to the middle, it's both tires. You switch it to the other side, it's the rear tire. So for me, giving you guys information from what I have learned over the last 40 miles is if you are wanting that battery to last longer, leave it on just the back tire. As you're using it on trails, roads, such like that. Once you get and you're going to go into the woods, or you see some mud, or you see a big hill, that kind of thing, reach over. You can do it while you're operating. Click that thing over to the dual wheel. You're not going to have any problems with any of that. So the way this bike is set up right now is just how it comes factory, except for 2 things. The number 1 is the rack on top. So it does come with like the flat rack. However, I did go ahead and get this as an addition, and we're going to talk about that in a little while and why I decided to do that. The second thing is the seat. I did go with an upgraded seat whenever I got mine, and mainly it's because the owner, operator, designer, we're going to talk about him in a minute. When I went down there, he already had that on there as well. I did not think that going into this, having an all-wheel drive bike would make that big of a difference, and I was completely wrong. Anytime that you're in the mud, so if you've owned an e-bike in the past, or you own one right now and you're considering upgrading to one of the dual wheel bikes, let me tell you now, do it. Don't wait, buy it. And this is the reason being, if you're in mud, if you've rode any of these bikes, you get that play in the rear end. Or like me in Mississippi, you go over the front end of the bike because there's no power up there to sling the mud. So what happens is the mud gets caked up in your forks around your caliper, and you end up doing the front flip. You can ask Eric or Jesse. Both of them went through the same thing. We was in that real sticky mud down in Mississippi the year before last with our old bikes. You do not get that with this bike. The next biggest deal is going over stuff whenever you're using it in the woods. So as you guys know, I do a lot of public land hunting, and the private land I do hunt, we hunt it as it was public land. So there's trees, there's limbs, there's all kinds of stuff, and we're going through the middle of the woods. When you come up to one of those trees, having the dual bike, the dual motorbike, You just give her a little gas and it just goes over the top of it. Like if you were, the easiest way to describe it really is a 2-wheel drive four-wheeler versus a 4-wheel drive four-wheeler. That availability for the front end to pull while the back end pushes changes everything. The next thing is operating up and down hills. So having the 750 watt, obviously it is plenty powerful enough to do that. However, having that, what I like to call the grab gear, which is the front tire, makes all the difference in the world. Some more upgrades to have this bike that we'll kind of go in is how easy it is to operate. Really and truly, you have 3 buttons on this thing that controls everything. All right, guys, I went ahead and brought you in here so that we can actually go over the buttons that are on the bike while we're inside, so there's not a glare. Plus, it's a little warm outside here in Arkansas, middle of end of June. So anyways, as you can see, like I said earlier, we got 37.5 miles on the bike itself. If you wanted to go into the settings, that's one of the super cool things about this bike, is all you do is you hold down the plus and minus at the same time, and it goes into the settings. You got everything from display settings to information about the bike. You can toggle by using the minus and the plus, and the select button is going to be over here on this side, which is going to be your power button. So you can go into this and do everything from the trip reset to how you have your units to the brightness of your screen, the auto off, which I think is super important. Once you go into this, you can set your auto off 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, so on and so forth. I like to leave mine on 2. It gives me enough time if I decide to get off the bike, walk a little circle, come back. It doesn't necessarily go off. Hit the power button. You can go down to assist mode. Again, it's got different power levels from 3 all the way up to 9. I'll leave mine kind of in that mid-grade range. That way, whenever you're pedaling the bike, you're not getting that instant jerk. Go down wheel size. You can change your wheel size on this bike, which is super cool, so that it registers on here on your actual mile per hours. Speed limit, I think this is another cool option, because if you have somebody else riding it that's not as experienced, you can turn that thing down so that it won't let them just get out of control there. Go on down, light sensor. This is a super cool feature. So with the light sensor, it's got 100% on there right now. You can obviously change all of that, but basically when you get into a dark area, the light will automatically kick on, so I don't have to do anything with it. Get to reset the clock and the back. Again, over here on the side, you've got the 8-speed, just like the one before. Click, 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 or you can click it back down. Super user-friendly. The screen is super user-friendly. The light, you can see here in the video, works fantastic. Super simplistic, not a whole bunch to do, not a bunch of crazy stuff to worry about. But let's go ahead and get into the specs of the bike. So the bike comes in at 89 pounds, which I know, guys, sounds heavy. It's got a 330-pound weight rating. And if I remember right, I think the weight rating on the rack back here is 25 pounds. Don't hold me to that, but let me tell you, I know the guy that built it is going to tell you not to do it, but I have had 80-pound feed bags on the back of mine, cruised in and out, didn't have any issues at all. But you have to put a number on there because people are always going to abuse it, and I understand that because I do that all the time. That's kind of the purpose of this channel, is trying to see the capabilities of the equipment before you guys go out and spend your money on it. Also, while I'm saying that, I'm sorry it has taken me so long to get this bike out. When we get up there on it in a minute, I think I've almost got 40 miles on it. I wanted to fully use this bike before I did a review of it, so that I knew for sure I was getting out the correct information to guys so that they didn't go out. Because it's a big purchase. An e-bike's a big purchase, especially one like this, but it is worth every dime. So in that 89 pounds, one thing that we have is the upgraded battery. It is a 30-amp Samsung battery, and it says that you're going to get in between that 50 and 60 mile range. We'll look at mine in just a minute, and I can prove to you that that's going to be pretty accurate, because I think that I had put like a 20-minute charge on mine throughout the year somewhere, but it has not been fully charged, not one time. It's probably around half battery. We'll have to check it in a minute to double check that, but I've been all over the place in mine. I actually went and met the guy that designs these in Mississippi back in the end of September. I was going to Illinois. We was hunting a very large property, and I knew that I was going to end up needing the e-bike. I'd had a Talon before. The e-bike I bought off Amazon had crapped out on me. I reached out to him. Super awesome guy. Went down there, and let me tell you guys, to me, this is one of the most important things. This guy designs the bikes for his use. I went down there. I'm not trying to say kind of flex or whatever, but I've killed some pretty good deer over the past. Do not talk about that. Do not talk to that man about big deer, because there ain't nothing but hurt feelings on that side of the fence. That dude has biggins. You know, I'm over here at my 150s and 160s like I done did something, and that guy just kind of, he go like that right there because it don't matter to him. But the awesome thing about that guy, so from the Talon to this bike, every upgrade he did to this bike is something that he knew would help him in the woods, because he is just like us guys. He is out there going and using his own product, and then he upgrades what he thinks needs to be upgraded, which I think is huge. So getting into the upgrades, it does have an upgraded brake system, bigger calipers on the front. You've got the dual hydraulic forks. Again, like we talked about, if you've seen the Talon video, they're adjustable. I like to back them off. I like to have a lot of play up there because it doesn't work your forearms as much. So let's actually talk about the design of this bike. So if you see, it's not a full pass-through system. It does have a top brace, but it is lower. And there's a reason for that. So I am 5'10 and a half, 5'11", depends on who you ask, me or my wife. 185, 190 pounds, depending on the time of the year. But this is the huge deal with that. So something that I don't want to say that was a complaint about the Talon, but definitely a consideration, is that whenever I sat on that bike, I was on my tippy toes, and I'm not a small guy. So any of the guys or my buddies like Eric, you kind of had to do that side tilt. This bike, you're not going to have that. Reason being is you can just step through. But like I said, it's not a full step through. It's like a partial step through, which makes it super comfortable to ride. Now that you see me on it, I'm flat-footed. My buddy Philip is 6'6". He's rode this bike, zero issues. He just raises the seat up. But for you normal size fellas like myself, the biggest deal about this to me is when you get the solid frame bikes, you have the elevation of sitting up higher. And if you're really tall like my buddy, you're even up higher. The way that this is designed is for the guys to be able to ride off the trails out in the woods. You're not sitting up as high. You're not as exposed. And it makes a huge difference when you are going in and out of the timber. So you're not hitting your head on stuff. You can go underneath limbs and those kind of things. I've had zero issues out of this bike. I've ran it this year in snow, in mud, in rocks, in dirt. This is my favorite video probably. This is how it started. When it's 90 degrees outside, that thing's worth its weight in gold whenever it comes to keeping scent down, because you're not walking in here sweating and all that kind of stuff. And I'm using a climber back here, so I know for sure I'm gonna get hot when I get in there. So if I can, the most I can keep that down on the way in, the better. And this is how it ended. That was actually here in Arkansas. It was the first, actually, no, I'm sorry. It was the second deer that I used the e-bike to get to actually kill. And I want to kind of talk about that spot in general and the big deals about the e-bike. So that spot there is a spot that Eric and I hunt. If you follow the channel, you're not new to it. You understand that we hunt there. And one thing about that spot is it is one giant bedding area. So if you drive an ATV into that area, you will not see a deer for 6 days. If you've ever rode one of these through the woods, it sounds like something running in the leaves. Just so number one, that full hunt is up on my channel. But when I shot that deer, my e-bike was parked 75 yards from me. I shot that deer roughly about 45, 50 yards from where my e-bike was laying. These things are absolutely a must have. Take public land out of it. They're an absolute must have if you have your own property and you're trying to grow big deer. They don't know you're there. It helps with scent control, just like in that video there. It was early season. I'm going in. I don't have to sweat before I get in there. So it helps with scent control. It helps with you being more comfortable. And ultimately, it helps you get your stuff in and out. Well, hey, guys, that's all I've got for y'all today. Again, this is the first video of a whole bunch of series of videos of rolling into the season of 2025, trying to get the product reviews out to you guys. Before you go spend your money on products, let me be the bearer of bad news and tell you what doesn't work and what does work, in my opinion. And in my opinion, this hands down is the best bike on the market. I am not sponsored by those guys. I am not paid for any of my videos. This is just my personal opinion. This thing is phenomenal. We now have 3, 4 e-bikes in between us, and you can see which one that I ride all the time, the one that stays at my house, because this thing is freaking phenomenal, and it has helped me this year kill at least 2 bucks that I can think of right off the top of my head. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for y'all today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, go back to the homepage, hit the little bell up top, because now we are going to roll out these reviews, and you don't want to miss them. There's a lot of big stuff coming this year, 110%. Anyways, guys, till next time, good hunting, and we'll see you from a tree. or a track or a road, I don't know, somewhere.